So bat houses, huh, Tommy?
Yeah, I thought we'd make a bat house for those little critters that fly around the backyard. But it's important that material we use. First of all, we're going to use a 2x4, but we want to make sure that it's not a pressure-treated 2x4 because you don't want the bats to ingest that chemical.
So you picked up some cedar?
This is a cedar. It's a little pricey. I mean, you could use a conventional 2x4, but that 2x4 will rot over time a lot faster than that will.
Nothing's too good for the bats.
Exactly. And we're going to use a rough plywood because you want something that they can cling to. So this is an exterior grade CDX, 3/4 of an inch thick.
Okay.
All right, so that should last long. And it's also important that we use a water-based paint because we don't want any of those oil chemicals getting to the bats. And we want to paint it black. The reason we want black is because the sun will heat it up, keeping the bats warm during the day.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that nice? And we use exterior screws and a little bit of caulking that's actually also an adhesive for where the roof meets the back. We want to fill that crack so the water doesn't leak and get the bats wet.
Got the materials, looks like you got a plan. I guess we're good to go.
Ready to start cutting. All right, I want to cut the 2x4 for the sides. I'm going to cut a rough length first. I set my saw at 20 degrees and now I'm ready to cut. All right, so now if I take my two pieces that both have a 20-degree angle on them, line them up, take my tape measure, and I bring it to the shot point of the angle, run it out, and I mark 21 for my length, and make a cut. Now both pieces are the same length. Okay, so we cut a 4x8 sheet in half, so it's 4x4. First thing I want to do is cut two pieces, 15 by 24 out of it. So we'll make it the 15 first. Here and here. These pieces will serve as the front, back, and partitions of the bat house. Now we got to cut the back and the front. Now we have to cut those to 11.5. So we've marked the angle for the pitch of the roof for our two interior baffles.
So sitting inside the frame of this house, Tommy, there's basically two vertical pieces.
Right.
Sort of create partitions.
Two dividers, and the spacing is a little over 5/8 of an inch.
Yep.
Next thing I want to do is cut the front. Now, this piece will be a little bit wider, but the angle is still the same. Now we're almost ready to put our pieces together, but before we do that, we want to make a place for the bats to grab onto when they land. So I'm going to put a series of grooves right across the bottom, so when they hit it, basically they can grab on as they walk up inside. That should do it.
It's like a bat ladder.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're almost ready to assemble it, but let's dry fit all of our pieces first. This will be the bottom. This is where the bats will land, and they'll crawl up inside. You like that? Crawl up inside. All right, so we put one of our sides together right here. That's the roof pitch, like that. We'll take a filler, or just a scrap piece of wood, put it there, one on the bottom. That's the space that the bats will crawl in. Place one here. And make it even on the bottom. A couple more scraps. One more baffle goes in. Just like that.
So you can see how they come up through the bottom.
They come up through the bottom. Now, if you notice that we've kept the baffles down from the top edge of the 2x4, and that's to create a space. So if the bats want to, they can climb up in any one of these spaces, climb up and go back down, climb up and go back down, whatever they want, or they climb up here and then go down.
Hang out with their friends.
Yeah, exactly. So when we put the front on, you'll see that there's 3 spaces, and the front goes even with the top of the 2x4s when we put our roof on. And once we place the roof on, you can actually see that space also, creating a nice space for the bats to wander around inside us. And that'll keep the water out and keep them nice and dry. Second piece for the front, we keep it down with about a 1/4 inch space that lets the air circulate when it gets really hot. We'll keep the interior partitions down about a 1/4 inch from the top to create a space so that the warm air can exit through the top and the cool air can come in through the bottom. Before we put the front and back on, I want to put a bead of caulking around the exterior to make sure the inside of the house stays watertight.
Want a bead there?
I'm going to try to pre-drill some holes first, because I know this might split if we don't. Now you're going to put that on there, we'll center it. Two vent holes on each side, just to let the air circulate. The bat house is now ventilated. There you go.
That is a pretty good looking bat house, Tommy.
And it's a good size.
It's huge. It's for like 3 bat families.
Yeah, well, how big are the families?
I have no idea. All right, well, when I put this in my yard, thank you, by the way, any suggestions on where I put it?
Well, I guess you can put it almost anywhere, but they recommend that you put it up relatively high to keep it away from predators. And also, the bats could use that space when they swoop down to get flight.
Very nice. Okay, well, the kids are going to be psyched. There are going to be fewer mosquitoes in the backyard this summer. Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.